Another year, another Xbox showcase. I wanted to give my thoughts on what I thought about the showcase and just go over the things that were announced. So let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back to another video. The Xbox showcase. It has come, it has gone. There's been everybody's reactions out there. Fortunately, I didn't get to stream it and watch it with you guys. Something just came up and I wasn't able to actually watch it exactly at one. I was a little bit behind, but stayed off social media, watched everything in the way that it was supposed to be presented, and then gave my thoughts, or just had my thoughts on everything that they did show off at this year's Xbox showcase. I thought it was a good show. I don't think it was as good as last year's or even as good potentially of the year before, but I thought it was a solid show. And it is very clear here the Xbox strategy, what they are pushing, and the vision of the future of Xbox. I thought that they really showed it off in a way that will get people excited about the ecosystem for Xbox. Everything announced at this showcase is Xbox Play Anywhere. Every new game that they did show off, Xbox Play Anywhere, which is a very, very good thing. Xbox Play Anywhere to me is a game changer. And it is the one thing here that Xbox has over competitors that don't have this, that don't have that access to a console, to a PC, to other devices that are going to be coming out and allow you to take your saves and your game file and seamlessly jump from device to device. It's not just the fact that they give you that option, it's just how good it does work. Even right now, the file and saving, syncing is phenomenally done. You pick up where you left off on your PC, on your console, on the cloud, and it's just very fast and it does it very, very good. To me, that's a massive advantage over Nintendo, over PlayStation, and even over something like Steam, where it doesn't work as seamlessly with as many devices as Xbox have. And that's the thing that I think they're going to have to use if they do want to have any chance with competing with Steam on the PC front, or they're going to do what we did also see at this showcase, which was announce a new piece of hardware, the Xbox ROG Ally, which the more I've watched videos on this, deep dives, because there's a lot of influencers like Linus Tech Tips and stuff that got access to this device previously, and then they got to put out their videos now and go over the specs and what they thought about the handheld and everything that is inside of it. This is going to be a premium PC gaming handheld. It does sound like it is going to be awesome with the new Z2 Extreme chip and everything. 24 gigs of RAM on the higher end model. There are two models, so I guess we might as well just talk about that. They did announce the new Xbox handheld. They got a cheaper model that's white, and then the Ally X1 that is black. And you're going to have those options. They didn't give us any pricing, but this is seemingly the next entry into the Xbox hardware. They're partnering with Asus and they're having their own custom Xbox user interface on this Xbox handheld. So that looked very, very cool. And Xbox Play Anywhere is going to be a major feature for that. I'm going to do another video specifically on the handheld, going deeper into like what I thought about the specs and everything about it. But that was a big announcement. And that was one of the things that I mentioned before this showcase, was that I wanted to see at least something as a focus on the ecosystem, how they were going to be expanding it out, whether that was hardware, which we got, or whether that was how they were going to be expanding out the user interface and putting Xbox onto different screens, which we also did get when we're seeing here how this thing is going to function with a dumbed down Windows without all of the bloat that you don't need to be able to play games, and a dedicated Xbox button and a dedicated Xbox user face for the Xbox ROG Ally. So very cool stuff on that front. And that just puts home even further the Xbox Play Anywhere, which I think is a huge advantage. I think that's going to be a big advantage in the PC space going forward. And you will see people being very interested in Xbox Play Anywhere, and the fact that you're going to be able to put your games onto any other device. And we did get, again, a ton of games announced. I believe in total, there were 17 games launching onto Xbox Game Pass day one, which is just mind blasting to me. Like Game Pass, that is the other thing. How I would sum up this entire showcase is it was a good showcase. I wish I would have seen more first-party content from it, but Game Pass is absolutely insane, and that is continuously being solidified here, especially after everything that they did show off. Here is the showcase. So here are all of the games, just in a quick picture that they did announce. And I think this is really cool. I think there's a lot of stuff here If I scroll down to it here, they started off with the Outer Worlds 2, and the Outer Worlds 2 to me looks very good. I think this is going to be one of my favorite games this year because I was a fan of the first Outer Worlds, and everything from the story to the gunplay to the crafting and everything that they did talk about. Very cool. And then they obviously had a much longer direct after this main showcase. They showed off Call of Duty Black Ops 7 at the end of the showcase itself. That's was like that one more thing announcement. And if you, my honest opinion on this was that was kind of a blown one more thing. I was not excited when they showed Black Ops 7. I'll be completely honest. Like, yes, I'm going to play it. Yes, I enjoyed my Call of Duties, but we know Black Ops, we know Call of Duty is coming every single year. So to end it off on that, that was one of the low points of the show for me. I would have loved to have seen something from one of the games that we have been waiting to hear more about at this showcase. Now, after reflecting on that a little bit, going and reading some comments and everything, I read a lot of good points. Is that they did also mention that next year, which kind of went over my head when I was initially watching it. I tuned out at the very end, just slightly as Phil was talking, because I was looking at some of the other announcements and kind of getting my thoughts together and everything that happened at the show. We're getting a Gearsy Day, Forza, and then another game that's been with Xbox for a long time, which you would take a wild guess and probably think that it is Halo. And next year's the 25th anniversary, so they may be saving a ton of their big first party titles from those other studios for next year, and that would make sense, and that's why they would end it off with an Activision game. But Black Ops 7 is the next one. I'm actually surprised that they're going again with another Black Ops game right after Black Ops 6. They usually kind of have different titles and stuff in between the Black Ops series, but I'm sure it'll be good. The campaign and everything of Black Ops 6 and the multiplayer was very good, and I'm sure Black Ops 7 will be just as good, if not better. So that was one of the disappointing things, but that did get announced. Ninja Gaiden 4, we did get a release date for that in October. I believe it's October 21st that will be coming out. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, they talked about Tony Hawk showed up on the screen. And the cool thing about this is there is a demo right now that you can go and try out. I love these Tony Hawk games. I love the 1 and 2. One of my most anticipated games of this year. Grounded 2. That was surprising to me that we're already getting into Grounded 2. I would have thought they would have just continued to expand on Grounded, and I did not expect Obsidian to release a Grounded 2. I just figured Grounded was the base, and then they'll just expand it out and expand it out and expand it out. But Grounded 2 from Obsidian. Obsidian is crazy. They're working on so many games, and they continuously are outputting great titles. Grounded 2 is another one. The first Grounded was a great game. Whether you're into that type of stuff or not, objectively, it was a very good survival building crafting style of game. I played a decent amount of the first Grounded, but Grounded 2, I'm interested to see how that one does end up turning out. Gears of War Reloaded. I have played Gears of War, the first one, so many times. It's one of my favorite series of all time. When they first announced Gears of War Reloaded, I actually wasn't that hyped for it because we already had the Ultimate Edition, and I was really hoping for the Gears of War 2 or Gears of War 3 instead. But for some reason, at this showcase, seeing all of the stuff they listed out of the improvements for Gears of War Reloaded, and then also the community thing, the online multiplayer, how that's going to be expanded out, I started getting very excited because I feel like the multiplayer is going to be rejuvenated here for Gears of War, and that scene is going to be massive, especially, of course, now that it is going on PS5 and it's going on other platforms. You're going to have way more people playing this game online, and I played a ton of Gears of War multiplayer on the Xbox 360 when this game dropped. It was a game that I would come home every single day to after high school and stuff and play with my friends. So many good memories, and I'm starting to get that nostalgia when they showed that off. So I'm actually very excited for that. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle of the Order of the Giants DLC, great game. So that looks cool. A game that I am extremely excited for. Out of this entire list, probably up there near the top is Clockwork Revolution. They didn't give us a release date. They kind of made a joke out of it, which was great, but that game looks very, very good. High on Life 2. I love the first one, so I was happy to see that one come out. The Blood of Dawnwalker RPG, dark RPG and stuff. That one looks like it is going to be very cool. Gives you kind of like Witcher vibes and stuff. So that one I think will be fun. You have Keeper. This is the next game from Double Fine. Super unique looking. I am excited for it. I think Double Fine makes great games, not over the top excited, but it looks absolutely unique. It's an action adventure puzzle solving style of game. Also did read that there is a story told without any words in it. So it's just going to be atmospheric, which is always an interesting thing here. And Double Fine does very creative stuff. So that's cool. Resonance, a Plague Tale Legacy. If you're a fan of that series, you're going to be pumped for that one. That one did look very cool. The Elder Scrolls Online, don't really play it. Fate's End looked awesome, or At Fate's End, whatever it's called, looked very, very cool. That one I'm very excited for. The action, the graphics and stuff in it, the art style looked awesome. Persona 4 Revival was shown, which is that remake / remaster of Persona 4. What I find super interesting about this announcement is that I think at this point we can say that Xbox, Atlas, Sega, like their relationship is very good. It's almost as if Xbox is now going to be that place for Atlas games to be announced. When you've seen the Persona games going into Game Pass, you've seen Metaphor being announced at the Xbox showcase, also in Game Pass now. Now Persona 4 remastered or revival being announced here at Game Pass. It's kind of crazy to think that Xbox is Atlas right now, where their games are shown off, when previously none of these games were ever on the platform and no one ever thought about Xbox but playing Atlas games. Now you kind of have to, just simply because all of their games are being announced there, and they've been successful ever since they've been in Game Pass and being announced at Xbox. So cool stuff there. That one is interesting that they did show that was off. That was also in the rumors before the showcase, and that one did come true. Age of Mythology Retold Heavenly Spear. It's just an expansion to the Age of Mythology game if you like that. This next one here looks really, really cool, and that is Mudang. And I don't know like really too much about this series or about this game or anything, but that game looked absolutely phenomenal graphically, gameplay wise, the action, the gunplay, the combat, the hand-to-hand combat and stuff. Super cool. Mudang looked really, really awesome. That's like a surprise because I don't know anything about this title, but this is one I absolutely do want to play right away. I don't believe that one is in Game Pass Day 1, but I will double check because I'm going to go over all 17 games that are actually in Game Pass. Invincible Versus, great looking fighting game from the Invincible series. Super cool to see that one there. We finally got the Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 16. Final Fantasy 16, the complete edition, is available right now to go play on Xbox if you haven't played yet. And then Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade is coming to Xbox as well. So that's great. It means exclusivity deal's over. We know Square Enix is moving on from exclusivity across the board. They're putting their games everywhere. Going forward, all the Final Fantasy games you can basically better launching onto Xbox Day when we don't have to deal with this anymore. So that is a great thing to see. It's finally here. We've talked about it so many times. There's been rumored so many times, so many hints that they were going to be dropping it on Xbox soon. They finally did it, and they did it at the Xbox showcase. So that's great for anybody out there who wants to jump in and play Final Fantasy. They announced something here for Sea of Thieves, Beast of Reincarnation. They also announced, which looks pretty cool there. I don't know too much about that one, but that was one of the first games that they did show off, in that one specifically comes from Game Freak, which is the studio behind Pokemon. So that's an interesting take there. That's also coming on to Xbox, a new game from them. Don't really see too much about it, but it looks like it could be cool. We got Fallout 76. We got Aphelion, which looked very interesting, a third-person sci-fi action adventure. And what is cool about this one is that it is actually made in conjunction with the European Space Agency. So it's a space game. You're trying to, I guess, you save the world and stuff, or you're trying to also find somebody, and it's made in conjunction with them. So we'll see how that one does end up turning out. But that was a pretty cool concept, and overall one that I would be interested in trying out. And then we got Solo Leveling Arise Overdrive. Now, interestingly enough, this game only was announced for, I believe, Xbox PC and Xbox consoles. Didn't see any PS5 logo or anything on that one, which is something we'll also talk about, that they did show all the logos of where games come out. Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Leaf. I loved the first one. This one's coming to Game Pass. I can't wait to jump into that one. Super Meat Boy 3D. I'm going to enjoy this game. I love the Super Meat Boy, and I love these platformers that are difficult and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. There are no ghosts at the Grand, which is a narrative driven game. you're looking for something, you're there for renovations, you're taking over your, I believe it was your grandfather's or your father's hotel. So that looks pretty cool. Animo looked like another Pokemon style of game. I'm super interested as to whether Nintendo's going to sue these guys as well, but who knows? That one looked decent. And then Chronos: The New Dawn, a horror game coming here from Bloober Team, their next game that they are creating. I think that one's going to be absolutely great. Now, when it comes to Game Pass, this is where things get just wild because service is just insane. You have to think that they're going to raise the price at any point, because anytime I mention about how good this service is, everyone just says they're going to raise the price, but they haven't yet. So let's just hope that they don't at this point, because it is just crazy all the games that we are getting. But this is the list coming day one to Xbox Game Pass: The Outer Worlds 2, High on Life 2, Resonance: A Plague Tale Legacy, Super Meat Boy 3D, Ninja Gaiden 4, Beast of Reincarnation, Clockwork Revolution, Grounded 2, Aphelion, There Are No Ghosts at the Grand, Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Leaf, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, A Fate's End, Gears of War Reloaded, Persona 4 Revival, Keeper, and Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Like, those are all games on top of everything we've already gotten going into Xbox Game Pass on day one. So that's insanity for a subscription service. It is by far the best subscription service. It's going to be very hard for anybody else to compete. The other thing we did find out was that The Outer Worlds 2 is launching at $80. And I think this just is going to push so many more people to signing up for Xbox Game Pass, which is obviously what Xbox wants more so than anything, is to get into their ecosystem and pay a monthly fee continuously. And that's why they have to have continuously great content dropping in, which they have been doing. But the $80 era is here for games, and it's not going to go away. I feel like all of these first party Xbox games are launching at $80, at least the majority of them, if they're not smaller ones. Like South of Midnight didn't launch at full price, but any real big full AAA game launching at $80. And that is going to push a lot more people over to Xbox Game Pass. And I mean, it would be kind of crazy not to even look at Game Pass at this point with how good these services, if you just want to play a variety of games and get a bunch of great stuff day one. So Game Pass was phenomenal, is going to be even better going forward. The other thing that was interesting, which I think this is a good thing that they did do this. I know some people may disagree, but they showed off PS5 logo. They showed off every single place where these games are launching. So there's no confusion at all. You're not going to see people here asking, oh, is this game coming to PS5? Is this game coming to PS5? Or whatever. Everyone knows right off of the bat which games are launching on multi-platform, multi-competing platforms, and which games are not. Because there were some games that did not have any logos on it. They only had the Xbox stuff. And you can basically bet now that those aren't launching, at least for a while, on anything else, because I guess they either have a deal or they haven't been developed for the other platforms. But most announcements had Xbox, PC, Xbox console, Series X and S or whatever, Xbox Cloud Gaming. And then under that, they had PS5 in the smaller logo. They also had Steam and Epic Games, or wherever these games were actually releasing. Like, for example, if we go to the end of a trailer, we can see just exactly how they did end up showing these off. Like, for example, if we go here to The Outer Worlds 2, which is coming out this year, you go to the very end of the trailer and it tells you, it showed exactly where everything was coming out. So see Xbox Series X and S, Xbox PC, Xbox Cloud, which this is funny. They now just call it Xbox Cloud. And that's great, because I had mentioned this in the video like last week that they should do something like this. Just make it Xbox whatever after and keep it very simple and streamlined. And they're doing that now. Xbox PC, Xbox Cloud, Xbox Series XS. Then you see here Battle.net, Steam, and PS5. So everywhere you can get it, every PC launcher, every console. And I think this is good. Be transparent. We know everything is going multi-platform. There's no point in trying to trick people at the showcase. If your game is going to be coming out somewhere else, like every other showcase does, or like PlayStation does, because right away after the showcase, you know where they're coming out anyways, because the developer and the publisher tells you. So there's no point in hiding that stuff. And they also put the logos in the bottom left for Play Anywhere and Game Pass. And that is what this show was all about. At the end of the day, this show was about Game Pass and Play Anywhere. and showing how good that ecosystem is going to be going forward, with every game showing off basically in Xbox Play Anywhere, and 17 of those games in Xbox Game Pass. So I thought it was a great show. No, it wasn't better than last year's. I think it was the best show so far, and I think the shows are over, but I think it was the best show of this year again. So Xbox has been the winner in my mind for the last 3 years in terms of showcases in the summer. We wonder how long that they'll be able to keep that up, because 2026, I think, is going to be a show that is going to be way better than this year's, because it is a 25th anniversary, and we already know Gears is going to be there, new Forza is going to be there, and probably new Halo is going to be there. Plus, you think about other games like State of Decay and Perfect Dark and stuff like that. Like, there's going to be so much they're going to be able to talk about on top of those three that they mentioned at the end of the show this year. So it's pretty crazy, and those are all going to be Game Pass Day One. So I thought it was a great show. Was it as good as last year's? No, but overall, very, very solid, and lots to look forward to and play. Those are my thoughts on the Xbox Showcase. I would love to know what you guys think. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you aren't here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Bye.